everybody, and welcome back to Eiersholt. It's the last day of spring, the birds are singing, and it's 6:15 in the morning. We are gonna head up and we are gonna start cleaning out the animals. That's usually our kind of morning chore. And then after that, we gotta try and put some slurry out on the grass that we cut a couple of episodes ago. See if we can give it a little boost in productivity for the second cut on the farm here. But right now, first thing we gotta do is to get animals sorted out. So we just gotta hook the shovel back onto the massey, but the first thing we always do is to basically fill up the water troughs. We do have a water pump sitting at the cow shed, so they should theoretically not run out, and the pigs aren't quite as demanding, but I do like to keep it topped up when at all possible. But later on, we're going to try out this beast over here, see if we can put some slurry down there. I'm not 100% sure. It looks to me like I might have bought the wrong reattacher. It looks more like a cultivator to me, but no, I don't know. It's kind of got running discs and injectors, so I'm not sure. We're gonna find out. Alternatively, we're gonna have to swap it out for a hose system, but we'll figure that bit out when we get to it. So first, I'm just gonna head down and grab some water, and I'll meet you over by the cows. So here we are. We got a full water trailer. I'm just going to bring that down. These cows go through an awful lot of water. Now the good news is that out of the 50 cows who would like to get in the way, okay, you're going that way, right? Cut in between here. Yeah, out of the 50 cows we got, 15 of them are expecting calves, so that is obviously positive insofar as we might actually start seeing some milk production. We do have room for a lot more cows on this farm, depending on how money develops. So we still have 177,000, but to be honest, ever since we started the series, apart from buying machinery and stuff like that, money has only been going down. We're paying about 815 in upkeep each day. And that basically means that until we start getting some crop in, I'm a little bit hesitant to just start spending a lot more of that money. That's basically our reserve. That's all we got. I guess we can take out a loan if we need to, but then we're going to have increased daily costs with interest repayments. So it'll be preferable to try and stay in the black, so to speak. And avoid going into red numbers and owing money if we can. Now, it's entirely possible that we're going to take out a loan at some point to buy additional fields, perhaps. But right now, we're going to try and keep it stable because we haven't done our first harvest yet. The animals aren't really producing anything massively yet. So until we're through the first year in Eiersholt and we get an idea of what kind of incomes we can expect from grain and from animals and so forth, once the animals are settled in and starting to produce some milk, then we'll get there. But obviously, currently I'm almost recording one episode for each of the 3 days in each season bit. We're probably going to speed that up quite a bit over summer because we're reasonably on top of things. There's not an awful lot to do over the summer. I'm thinking about cutting down some trees, like I mentioned in the last episode or so. And but apart from that, we're kind of on top of the fertilizing and everything like that. So from that perspective, we're doing okay. One thing we are going to do while this one's draining, we're just going to go over here to the gate and have a quick look at what the pigs are worth now. So they were 330 euros, and we bought them in, yeah, so the current selling price is 212. So they've gained a bit, but not a huge amount, obviously. And nothing major since last time. Good, so let's just do a quick check on there. There's a tiny little bit on the floor there, but to be honest, that's fine. Like, we can leave that for today. Leave the pigs. It's still cold, 6 degrees. I kind of wish that I would start seeing some more summery temperatures soon, but I guess we'll get there eventually. It's just like in real life, you go around wishing for summer, and suddenly it's there. And it takes a while. It always seems to take longer for summer to arrive, and then when it's there, it seems to pass by really quickly, at least in my world. If you enjoy warm weather, that is, of course. So we're just gonna empty off the last water in this tanker here. None a bit like last episode, we just need to scoop up and things like that, but I can do that off screen, and we can get on with trying out our slurry tanker. We got a decent amount of slurry. I'm not 100% convinced that we have enough to cover the whole field. We tried that once before we rebooted the map, but we have more slurry this time. We've had the cows for a bit longer, so we might be able to cover a large area. Like I said, I'm not quite sure about the reattachment. We're gonna find out shortly. I'll just finish off these cows, get them topped up on feed, and then I'll meet you down in the tractor shed, and we'll try and get that slurry spreader hooked up. So the cows are done, and it's time to have a little experiment with slurry. Tasty. I reckon we need something with a bit of oomph for this. Should we sub 6R? Is that gonna do it? No, we're gonna go 8R. Close this one again and swap over here. We do have the other T7 still sitting by the planter. Oh, that's the wrong tractor. Yeah, the other T7. The other T7 is still sitting in the planter with the planter. We're gonna take the twin tires off it today, take it down to the workshop, and get it back on a regular tire configuration as well. Let's see. Yeah, we've got plenty of fuel still in this one. So we do have two sources of slurry. We've got the pigs and the cows, but the cows are producing far more than the pigs currently are, obviously. Well, we do have 100 pigs, but they're small ones, the young ones, that we're fattening them up, so it's perhaps not surprising. So here we go. We're gonna start by hooking this up, and we're just gonna check how much slurry we got in each of the tanks. So the cows have 75,000 liters of slurry, so that's kind of 3 tanker loads of this mid-sized Samsung. That's pretty good. And for the pigs, we got 12,800, so just shy of 13,000. So that's another half tank. So 3.5 tanks of slurry potentially to put out on our grass. That should be good. It'll be good to give that grass a bit of a boost. But, wow, this is a big piece of machinery. I do hope it works without ripping up all the grass, but I guess we're going to find out shortly. See if I can get it maneuvered in here to our slurry pit. I'm glad that we put the 8R in front on this thing. It's a fairly hefty machine here. Now, where's the trigger? Here it is. Good. So, we're pumping. That's good. There's some slurry in there. It's obviously not full. There's a slurry storage on this map, so I think it is fairly finite how much you can fit here at the cow pitch. You may actually find yourself later on when we get more cows, perhaps needing to move slurry to the storage. But it sounds like we're full. We got 25 tons or 25,000 liters of slurry on board this thing. So now it is extra heavy. It's a nice looking machine though. We'll take it over just across the road to the grass field and see what we can do. I guess since we are crossing the road, we need to put some lights on as well, some beacons. So here we are. Now we just got to try and get this piece of machinery unfolded. It's quite large. I think it is just hoses. I hope so. Actually, let's just hop out and take a little look. So we can see the fertilizer level on the grass here is 33% now. So good to get another lorry. Yeah, I think we should be okay just rolling this underground. I don't think it's going to actually dig in and rip the ground up, but we'll see. It's a decent reach on this thing. Probably means that we're going to run out of slurry really quickly. Anyway, let's give this thing a shot. Turn off all these indicators and flashers and whatnot. Okay, where are we? Yeah, first of all, it's not ripping up the ground, which I am, of course, very pleased to see. And it's dispensing at a decent rate here. Not excessively so. We've got good reach, so we should actually be able to cover a fair bit of this field, I think, this time. Last time it felt like it was running out almost when we reached this corner, when I tried it in one of the earlier episodes, so this does seem better. I'm glad we got this machine, even if it does require a lot of horsepower to pull it. But yeah, we'll crack on up the field here and get the first, see how far we can go on the first tank load. And when you're paying more attention to the status of the screen recording than you're driving, that's what happens. We'll get recovered and get back into it here. But I'm really pleased with the reach of this one. The previous sprayer or slurry tanker that we used, pardon me, had about 20,000 liters in it, and we really only reached sort of well, less than halfway up really before we pretty much run out. So I don't know, this somehow seems more efficient or just better coverage. Mind you, the other one had a wider boom, I think, so maybe it's just that, but it feels like we're getting more done this time around. Now, because the farm is so close, it's not an issue to simply drive back over and fill up this tanker. Obviously, if and when we start working on more remote fields and we wanted to put slurry down on them, we'd probably need to start thinking about getting a dedicated slurry transport as well, but that is still a good while off. We have a lot of work to do on this farm before we sort of really make it, I think. We got some decent sized fields. I hope we're going to get a good harvest. If we have time today, one of the things I want to do is just do a quick scout on the fields as well, just to see how they're doing, mainly in terms of weeds. I haven't seen any weeds yet, so I'm hoping that we can stay organic. that is us getting pretty close to having emptied the first tank here. I think it's quite evident we're not gonna cover the whole field with slurry, but we are gonna use it all up because it's gonna allow us to offset cost of any chemical fertilizer. So the rest will get fertilizer pellets probably. I think we're gonna use the pellets rather than the herbicide. We're keeping not the herbicide, the liquid fertilizer. We're keeping the liquid fertilizer for the field with the corn and give that a dose in the summer, the stuff that we got in the last episode. But we'll get as much of this field done with slurry as we can, and then we'll swap over into the Titan and cover the rest of the field with pellets so that all the grass has got an increased growth potential. Back in for the second load. So from what I gather, there's Wopster is apparently working on some kind of hose mod, which would be really cool because it would be neat to be able to kind of see hoses getting strung out or having to run hoses or something. I'm not quite sure because obviously this model kind of does have a bar up top. I don't know if we can actually get up and see. Is there a ladder in this thing? No, not really. Because up there we do have an arm that looks like it almost works a bit like an agitator as well. I don't know, I haven't actually tried the controls. But let me put the help thing on and put it onto the main tank here. Well there we go. Okay, so I guess I could have done that at least. Oh yes. Okay. So next time we'll make sure we extend the arm at least. We'll get over and do some more spreading. We'll just start from the same point, you know, one row in, from even though we didn't make it all the way around the field. Just make it easier and quicker to cover the field that way, rather than go. Ready for the second track. Us reaching the end pretty much exactly the same spot as before, which is excellent. We have a third load. The width of this is pretty good, so we're actually getting to close off the top of the field there. Obviously there's a large area down here at the bottom that will need to be covered by fertilizer pellet, but we're saving quite a bit of money here in terms of using natural fertilizer instead of stuff we have to buy. So I'm quite pleased with that. It helps us keep the cost down, and it'll be interesting to see next year once we're going through winter. Mind you, during the winter we are going to be swapping over and putting straw down for the cows just so they can stay warm. So we're obviously not going to have slurry, we're going to have solid manure instead. So we're probably going to have to think about investing in a manure spreader as well, but that is going to be tricky because in my experience, I don't really feel like manure or solid manure reaches as far. Anyway, this time we better swing out the arm so we can connect that up to the slurry system here, like so, and start pumping the last bits out. That the ground texture does change even on top of the slurry spread bit here, so let's just find out. So I'm just going to turn this off for a second. I'll leave the engine running here. We're just going to get our measurement tool out. So over here we've got ground that has been covered by slurry, and the fertilization is showing 67%. Yeah, that's fine. Then we got a bit here that hasn't been covered. That should be 33, I think. Yeah, 33%, the little leaf symbol there. And then we go to where we have spread fertilizer pellets, 67. Now what I'm curious about is at the back here, where we did both. Oh, is it having some difficulties? Oh, it's gone to 100%. Now that's interesting. So it looks like... yeah, the fertilization here is 100%. So it does look like it's possible to put fertilizer directly on top of slurry and get somewhere with that, but the aim of today was really to get an even coverage over the whole field, so we'll focus on that to begin with. Whether we want to start double fertilizing, I'm not 100% sure about right now. Then it's still going to cost us quite a lot in fertilizer to do the field, although of course it should come back in yield. But we're going to be making more hay, I reckon, on this grass field. Although we already produced 94 bales, I reckon we can sell them. Because the plan is to cut all or most of the cornfield and put that into silage, and then we'll see if we can scale up cows, because then we will have plenty of feed and we'll have had straw coming off the fields as well, so we'll start becoming a little bit more self-sufficient in terms of what's needed to run the farm, well, on the fertilizer. Although we should have more slurry coming from cows and pigs over summer and autumn, and then once it starts turning cold again in winter, we'll start putting straw in for both of the animals, so we will be starting to get some manure as well, and we need to have a think about what we're going to be doing with that. So if you have a brilliant idea for what to do with our manure, should we invest in a manure spreader, or should we think about doing greenhouses or something like that? I'm not quite sure how they work with seasons, but could be a possibility. Drop a comment if you have a strong preference, and we'll consider it. It's still a little while off, but it's good to get some feedback and some ideas if you're enjoying watching the videos and following the year on Eiersholt. And there's just one little strip left to go. It's always a pleasure working with this Titan. It was expensive, but it's fast, it gets good coverage, so I'm really pleased we made that investment. It's a pleasure to drive. And if you do like it, I think, if I remember correctly, it came off the Yes Mods website. There will be a link to all the mods used in the description down below. Good. So while that's folding up, we're just going to take a quick look on the map. So here's field 32. As we can now see, we've got some patches there in the middle, which has now reached 100% because we overlap with both slurry and fertilizer. I'm a little bit surprised that was possible. I thought you could only do one fertilizer step in any given season, but yeah, so we've learned something today. We could go out. All the other fields, field 30 and 29, are looking good. 14 is now fully fertilized after we sprayed it. 53 are now, if you can see those pink splodges, those are weeds. Now 29 and 30 are the ones that I've been mainly keeping an eye on. Like I said, I haven't really seen any weeds. I think we need to go down and check on 53 to see how bad it's looking. So we'll get the Titan back. We need to get the fertilizer unloaded from it as well, and maybe just use our front loader to quickly shift those pallets back into the silo. So we'll just get the lid open so we can get this fertilizer tip back in rather than sitting in the back of the Titan, corroding the metal all through the winter and absorbing moisture and everything like that. The silage system is designed to keep it dry and safe, so it's the best place to keep it, to be honest. So that's all the fertilizer unloaded. Now obviously it would be nice if you could just dump it in, but we unloaded it in pallets, and now ready to put the Titan pack into the shed, where it will probably stay for a good little while, at least until late autumn or something like that. I don't know if we'll have time to put fertilizer on any of the winter seed, or if it's needed. Excellent. So that was really the main job for today. That's pretty good. Put the gate down, and got that T7. Need to take it down to the workshop and get the twin tires off it, so I'll just hop down there. Okie dokie, and get the gates open, okay, so we can get access to the tools. There's not an awful lot of space when you We got the twin tires on, but we got the lifters here on the side, so it is possible to roll them out of the workshop one by one at least when you start at the back. So we'll get the twin tires taken back off. There we go. A little bit more space to move around it again. Twin tires have been put back into storage for now. There's no point in wearing them out. The next jobs are most likely going to be carting grain, running trailers, fair bit of road work. So there's no point in having twin tires on and just wearing the tires out. None of our fields are so muddy or problematic that we'd need anything to spread out the weight or grip through. So for now, this one can go back in the shed. I haven't been in there for a while. It's been sitting out in our seeding shed instead, but get it parked back up next to its blue twin. We'll close up the gate, and that is pretty much it for today, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video. We didn't do quite as many jobs as we do sometimes, but it'll help keep the duration down a little bit as well. So if you have enjoyed, please do consider hitting that like, and if you haven't subscribed to Overclocked Gaming, please consider doing so as well. It obviously always helps to know that people are enjoying the content. But for now, it's thank you very much from Overclocked Gaming, and see you again soon.